What's going on, everyone, and welcome to Total Swans TV. This is your playoff semi-final first leg match preview. Swansea City against Brentford. Who honestly would have thought it going into that last game, and even since the return of football, that the Swans would actually make the playoffs. What an absolutely unbelievable achievement from Steve Cooper and the team. I'm still on such a massive high about it. I keep watching everyone's reactions and the highlights of the game. I can't watch my own reaction without getting a bit emotional on it. It was absolutely chaos. What a fantastic end to the season, and what a game we had against Reading, and what a game Stoke had for us against Nottingham Forest. What a feeling going into that game first thing in the morning. Woke up very confident, had a very good feeling we'd be able to do something in our game, and maybe, just maybe, that slight possibility we could sneak into the playoffs. Nerves were building up rapidly as the game started to build and went on. And those last, 10, 15 minutes, just absolute chaos. I don't think we've seen an end to a championship season on the final day quite as dramatic as that, with so much still on the line. There was still the opportunity for two teams to fight out for that final automatic spot. There were still three teams fighting for two playoff spots, and I think there was five teams trying to avoid those three relegation places. Obviously, with Wigan and Sheffield Wednesday's court sort of EFL, their rulings still haven't been announced yet, and what the punishment is going to be for those teams. Wigan did unfortunately get docked those 12 points as soon as the final whistle went, which did drop them down into the relegation zone. But that hearing has not been finalised yet, and they do have an appeal. So it may drop down to 9 points. It may be abolished completely. In my opinion, it's probably the worst case of football administration, and probably the wrapping up of a football club. It's probably one of the worst sort of cases we've ever seen. I think the owners had it for less than a week, maybe even a couple of days before putting their football club into administration. So the bottom of the table is still completely undecided. Yeah, it's not a guarantee. There's still teams that can switch places, maybe. But our game, we snuck into the playoffs, guys. And yeah, we did sneak into the playoffs. I've heard Cooper's press conference yesterday where he says he's heard people saying we snuck in and that you can't sneak in after 46 games. Well, 45 games, we weren't in the playoffs. We just weren't in those playoffs. All right, throughout the season, we'd been in those spots, but after 45 games, we were not in those playoffs. And with a five goal deficit to overturn, we did it. And yeah, we did sneak into those playoff spots. We deserved it, but we'd certainly snuck our way in. And a fantastic achievement it is. That the game was absolutely chaotic. We could have scored in the first 40 seconds, and we looked likely to score throughout the game. I was confident as the match went on, and the live stream I was doing with a couple of viewers in there saying we're not going to score again, and I was certain we'd score again, 100%. And we scored another three. Stoke, fantastic for them. They were in form. Whatever happened to Forest, God knows. Friendly with a few Forest fans. I do feel for them. But wow, what a way to overturn it. Lamucci, that post-match interview, probably talked himself out of a job if I was the owner. Thomas Frank's interview, what a completely broken man he looks walking off the pitch. And that's not going to bode well for a good atmosphere in the changing room and back at the club during training and stuff. So fingers crossed that plays a massive part on them mentally, and it shows in the game with Swans winning 4 or 5-0 in the first leg. That'd be fantastic. But going into this, we've just come back from football, from lockdown, so football has returned. We've had 9 games. During that time, Swansea's form has been a little bit wavy, shall we say, with a fantastic return and win against Borough, then a loss against Luton, a draw against Millwall, 2 wins on the bounce then against Wednesday and Birmingham, a loss against Leeds, draw against Fulham, and then we beat Bristol and smashed Reading on the final day. So not too bad, some very good wins in there. 5 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses for Brentford. Wow, what a start and what a run towards the end of the season they had. They beat Fulham 2-0, West Brom 1-0, Reading 3-0, Wigan 3-0, Charlton 2-1, Derby 3-1, Preston 1-0, lost to Stoke and lost to Barnsley in their final 2 games. the way the table was going, they could have easily finished. They could have been in that automatic spot before the end of the season. And maybe they deserved it, but final game they crumbled. The pressure got to them. They obviously just could not try and keep up with those top two. They had the opportunity to surpass West Brom on the final day and go up. They could not manage that themselves. It was within their hands, it was in their grasp, and they could not manage it. So fingers crossed that has taken a massive dent to their attitude going into the game against the Swans. Hopefully the pressure will get to them once again. The Swans, we are a very young team. Steve Cooper's first season in club management, what a fantastic job him and the coaching team have done, and the players. Everybody has done an amazing job this season. All right, a lot of points during the season. We thought we were never going to get the playoffs. We're really not. We're just not looking like a team that can do it. But we've been consistent enough. We've picked up enough points throughout the season to get ourselves in a very, very good spot on that final day. It needed a miracle. We got that miracle. Who knows where that came from? I still can't believe we did it, guys. I honestly still cannot believe we did it. But what an achievement. Watching the game, I had the feeling we could do it, but I just wasn't 100% sure. And when it happened, oh my God, absolute chaos in this house. We've won 4-1. Come on! Full time. Come on, f***ing Stoke. Come on, Stoke. Come on, Stoke. If there was 3 minutes in the Forest game, it's 95 and a half. The f*** is going on? So 4-1 Stoke! We're the f***ing playoffs! Come on! So that was the fourth Stoke goal. We'd just finished, and obviously we were guaranteed a playoff spot. 4-1 Stoke, 4-1 Swansea. Brilliant results that got us into the playoffs on the very last day. But looking ahead at this Brentford game and these two legs, I'm feeling confident. I really am feeling confident. They've got some fantastic players in their team, and they're playing like we played the year we went up. It is reminding Swansea fans of the style of football we played, the brand of football that we wanted to attract to the club, and the players we had. We had some fantastic players. Ben Rama, he kind of reminds me of Scott Sinclair. Bags and bags of goals, loads of assists, fast, pacey, tricky winger, loves getting forward, driving on towards the 18-yard box. They're just a fantastic outfit this season, and they've been a real pleasure to watch, to be honest. Watching it on all the highlight shows, they have been a very, very entertaining team, and Thomas Frank has done a very, very good job there. Fingers crossed that's now stopped, and that has finished, and they crumble for the next two games, and we absolutely run away with it. But it is going to be a very difficult game, as I say, any game in the Championship is. They're not easy. Everybody has something to fight for, and now more than ever, ourselves and Brentford are fighting for that playoff final spot. 2 games, 180 minutes of football. That is all that it's going to take. One team to come out on top is going to be very nervy, very entertaining. I can see these games being probably some of the best footballing matches you would have seen throughout the season. Two very, very good possession-based teams, like to bring the ball down, like to play neat, intricate passes, and try and find spaces behind the defence. Ollie Watkins, what a fantastic season, chasing Mitrovic all the way for that golden boot. I think Mitrovic has pipped it by a goal. I'm not sure if the playoff games count towards your seasonal target as far as the awards and things like that, but he now has the chance to and Mitrovic both have the opportunity to try and extend their goals. I think it's 25 and 24 from Mitrovic, and then 24 for Ollie Watkins. But my God, what a fantastic season. 24 goals. I think he's got about 4 assists, which is not too bad, to be fair. He looks like he can score from anywhere. He looks like he scores with ease. I put him in my Championship team of the season earlier on, before the football had been postponed, and then obviously before it returned, so I may revisit that. But he was in my Championship team of the season, as was Ben Rama. Fantastic players. They are quality. They look dangerous every time they get on the ball. Whether they're looking to drive towards goal, looking to play in another attacker, or just slow the ball down and wait for the attackers to catch up with them. They are fantastic players. They're going to be very, very deadly. There are more players to look out for, but for me, those are going to be obviously the main two. They're the obvious two, but they are going to be the main two to look out for. Cabango, and more than likely, I'm not sure if Van der Horn is going to be playing after Cooper's press conference, but Guéhi, Roberts, Norton's not back until the second leg, and Bidwell, they're going to have their hands full, and I think they'll be able to cope with it. I really, really do. Cabango and Guéhi have looked solid in the last few games. That tackle Guéhi made in that Reading game, people are comparing it to that block by Gary Monk against Reading in the playoff final. It's similar. It's you can see the importance of it, but it's not quite the sort of same thing, is it? But the importance of it was huge. The player was likely going to get his shot off. Whether it would have gone in, who knows? But fantastic tackle from Guéhi, and Cabango has held his own. I was a bit of a critic of Cabango when he first came in. Too young, too inexperienced, wouldn't be playing him so consistently, but we've had no choice. And he's taken it with both hands. He's gripped that ball by both horns, and he's making it his own position. When the players come back fit, he's going to be in and around that starting 11. They are going to have to fight with him for that starting spot. Fingers crossed Van der Horn stays with us next season. Hopefully Roden comes back and stays with us as well. I would love to get Wilmot back on loan, but that's just not going to happen. But I think with Andre Ayew, and Ryan Brewster, Conor Gallagher, we've got some very attacking players. Routledge touching hot and cold at the moment, whether or not he'll be available for Sunday. But when he came on, I'm sure an awful lot of Swans fans' heads dropped. I'm not mine necessarily, but I think I said Routledge is coming on. Make of that what you will. Wow, he made of it what he would. Scored 2 fantastic goals. That first goal, the chip over from Matt Grimes, the pitch and wedge from Matt Grimes, the touch in mid-air from Routledge, and then the volley to chip it over the goalkeeper. What a goal. I'm not being funny. Had that been a Liverpool player, a Madrid player, a Barca player, United player, we'd be hearing about that for weeks. It would be on Sky Sports News being repeated. What a goal, Wayne. Take a bow, son. Honestly, what a finish. And that header in the last few minutes, thing of beauty. Absolute thing of beauty. I've watched that game back so many times already, guys. And if you haven't watched my reactions, I've edited a video. It's only 10 minutes long. It basically breaks down the whole game. Go and watch it. I'll link it down below. It's thoroughly entertaining. I love it. But Wayne Routledge, we haven't seen Dyer come on. He's been on the bench a few times. But with our bench isn't the strongest. We haven't seen Salina. He's been coming on very late in games. Fans have been nagging for him to come on. And Cooper's not been playing him. For whatever reason, but maybe it's turned out to be for the right reason. I'm not sure if there's an attitude issue there, performance issue, or personal problems between them. But fingers crossed things get sorted, because I want them both here next season fighting for this team. But goalkeeper situation, Woodman is likely going to be out. Well, he is out for Sunday for sure, because Cooper has mentioned that he will not be playing on Sunday. Mulder did fantastic on Tuesday against Reading. Very easy shots he had to stop in the final 10 minutes. Reading definitely took their foot off, which is why the scoreline maybe doesn't really complement the game. It does complement the game, but had Reading not had nothing to play for and been on the beach already, because they thoroughly were, I think it would have been a bit more of a different result. But thankfully they were on the beach, feet up, pina coladas in hand, and the Swans sailed past them. But again, this game, these 2 legs, it's massive. It is massive for this club. If we want to retain some of these more experienced, higher earners, Andre Ayew, Mike Van der Horn, Kyle Norton, bring in fresh players, maybe make some of these loan deals permanent. Guéhi, maybe, who knows. But Woodman is a player I would definitely look to be bringing in. He's made that position his own this season, and he's won with the fans. We absolutely love him, and he is a Jack through and through. So fingers crossed, as I say, we can make some deals permanent. Swansea and Brentford have met in the past in the playoffs in the 2005-2006 semi-final, where the Swans won 2-0 in the second leg, and it was a 1-1 draw in the first leg. We went on and played Barnsley in the final. That went to a penalty shootout in Cardiff, and it was probably one of the worst days supporting the Swans. I was a lot younger back then, but yeah, missing out on promotion to the Championship through, I think, an Akinfenwa and an Alan Tate rockets of penalties that went over the crossbar. I'm pretty sure it was them two. Excuse me, guys. Apologies if it wasn't. I'm sure it was. We missed out on promotion, but that was what it was. It was a blessing in disguise because we got to rebuild, and only a few seasons later, promotion to the Championship, and then we know what happened from there. 3 years in the Championship, and we just skyrocketed up through that Premier League. And we made a name for ourselves. We put a massive dent in that league with the 7 years we were up there. I want that again. A lot of fans will be like, oh, Premier League, you don't win many games. I don't care. I do, but I want my football club playing at the highest level possible, bringing in as much money as possible, with better owners running the club, or at least with owners who want to run a football club and not just asset strip. But I want this football club back in the Premier League. The Championship has been absolutely amazing for those 2 seasons. But I want out of it now. I want to join Leeds and West Brom, and I want promotion. So fingers crossed we can get to the playoff final and get back to the Premier League, guys. But it's going to be a very difficult ask. So before I give you my overall thoughts of how I think the first leg is going to go, my score prediction, I have asked a Brentford fan to give their thoughts and opinions on the game, the 2 legs, and who is going to make it through to the final. His name is Jeremy Clemmons. He's from the United States, and he runs a podcast called The Reserve Squad. I will link everything down below. So here is Jeremy with his thoughts on the games.
Hello, Jeremy Clemmons here, Brentford fan from abroad in the USA. Mind the accent. I'm also part of a football podcast called The Reserve Squad. You guys can find us on Apple, Google, or Spotify. Mind the plug as well. All right, so this season, hell of a ride for the Bees. It all started in the summer when our top scorer, Neil Maupay, departed for Brighton. Huge shoes to fill. In comes Ollie Watkins, moved from the wing to the center forward, and he's exceeded expectations. Just an unbelievable season. Joint top scorer in the Championship. He's just been phenomenal. Also in came the usual dose of overlooked Scandinavian players in Christian Norgard and Matthias Jensen, lower French league talent in Brian Mbeumo, and Championship transfers in Ethan Pinnock and David Raya. All these players have been so instrumental for us this season. Excellent job by the club as usual in finding this talent out there. Then there was Pontus Jensen, which about as any Bees will tell you is un-Brentford as a buy as ever. Our usual model is to buy potential at a bargain price and sell high. This was the opposite of that. We're buying a veteran at a high price and paying for his leadership and his ability to take us to the next level. The message was absolutely clear from the club that we're going for it. It's our last year at Griffin Park, our beloved stadium, moving into a new stadium next year, and we want to make the Premier League. And we basically went for it all season. We had the most goals scored in the Championship, joint best goal differential right there with Leeds. The underlying numbers said that we were an automatic club through and through, and it looked like it was up until the very end when our 8-game winning streak came crashing into Stoke and Barnsley. I think any Brentford fan would have shaken your hand off for a 3rd spot to start the season, but the whole thing feels a bit bittersweet given how it ended. Yeah, it's a feeling. All right, so this game, it's tough to predict given the uncertainty of the mental state of the team that just missed out on promotion. Hopefully our manager, Thomas Frank, we believe in him, will get the players focused and ready. We obviously look great in both games against the Swans this season. Swansea plays attractive football. We like that. We tend to not do well with teams like Forest with their shithousery. So thank you for not allowing Forest to be there with us. So I'm looking at sort of a scoring win in this first game. Maybe the Bees nick it 2-1 or even 3-2, something exciting like that. Possibly a 2-2 draw at the worst to take back to Griffin Park for a victory. Of course, my concern is that, huge confession here. I'm actually a huge Matt Grimes fan. Last game I was at Griffin Park last year was you guys beat us 3-2, Potter ball at its finest, and I thought Grimes just dictated the match beautifully from midfield. As a player, actually won in the offseason. Of course, you guys aren't going to sell him. But I think that our attackers might have to do some legwork to shut him down because as he ticks, your team seems to tick. Of course, I'm also worried about Brewster, Premier League talent right there. But I think our defense might be able to handle him with Pinnock and Jensen. So I still got us for the win. close one, take back to Griffin Park. Anything can happen in these championship playoff games. Just ask Leeds. But I think that we can do it with our talent and our leadership on the team. As for the final, why not? Let's face this against Fulham, and hopefully, God, we'll never live it down. But I hope we do the treble over them, and we make it to the Premier League once and for all. And that would just be wonderful. So there it goes. There's my prediction. I say 2-1, and I hope the Bees can do it. But good luck to you guys, and thanks for having me on. Take care.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Jeremy. That was great. Really appreciate that. As I say, guys, I will link Jeremy's podcast details down below. Go and check those out. So my opinions and thoughts on how this first leg is going to play out. Being at home at the Liberty Stadium, we have been very, very good at home. Although we've scored so many goals away from home, I'm very confident that we will be able to secure a victory at the Liberty Stadium. I think we will be able to run away with this 2 or 3-1 victors. I honestly think this first leg has maybe come around a little bit too soon for Brentford. Fingers crossed after the disappointment of the final day loss against Barnsley. As I say, we are coming into this on the better sort of recent form. Brentford have lost their last two and we've won our last two. So hopefully that plays a big part. Hopefully the disappointment of missing out and not grabbing that opportunity to get into the automatic promotion places on the last day has taken an effect on those Brentford players and Thomas Frank. You shouldn't wish things like that, but I want my team to beat them. I want my team to absolutely walk through Brentford on Sunday and Wednesday night. I want us to steamroll them like we did last season. They've beaten us twice this year already, 3-0 and 3-1. We demolished them 3 times last year in the Cup as well. I want that sort of performance again. I want to absolutely steamroll Brentford and get us into those the playoff final. So those are my thoughts. I think it is going to be a very difficult game, but I think Andre Ayew and Ryan Brewster may be the difference. Yeah, Ben Rama is fantastic, but I honestly think that whichever side he decides to play on, if he's out on the left, I think Roberts will be able to deal with him. If he's out on the right, I think Bidwell will be okay as long as he can outmuscle him, because his pace may be an issue. But as far as a score prediction goes, as I say, 3-1, 2-1 Swans. I'm feeling confident. I really, really am. So fingers crossed, the Swans take a massive leap towards Wembley after this the first leg. Fingers crossed it'll end with a clean sheet for the Swans and a few goals. But very much looking forward to it. Cannot believe it still that we've made it to the playoffs. Guys, I will be doing a live match watch along Sunday night. 6:30 is kick-off. I will be starting about 6 p.m. So Total Swans TV on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Hit the bell notification so you get alerted when I upload a new video or a live stream goes live. Post down below what your score predictions for both legs, for both games of the first leg will be. Cardiff obviously have Forest, and we have Brentford. It's either going to be, it has the possibility to be a West London derby or a South Wales derby at Wembley. Fingers crossed it'll be a South Wales derby and we can embarrass Cardiff at Wembley in front of a global audience. But but an awful lot of football to play until then. So guys, thank you very much once again for tuning in and watching. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed. If you haven't, make sure you do, guys, and I will catch you Sunday 6:30 for the Championship semi-final first leg. Swansea City against Brentford. Come on, the Swans!